Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. I want to say hello and welcome and thank you to everyone for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. Real quick, want to invite you guys to rate and review the podcast wherever that's possible, particularly on the Apple Podcast episode, so that potential new listeners can get your take on it and see if it's something that might fit for them, might be a good fit for them. And also, I always read those comments because I'm always trying to improve the show. So, and I like to know what you honestly have to say about it. And then again, invite you to hit me up on social media, wherever you find me, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook. Shoot me a note and let me know how things are going for you, or just to say hello if that's what you want to do. So let's get into today's episode, which is frustrations are our friends. Frustrations are our friends. All right, so now I know it doesn't seem that way when we're in the midst of them, and which is the reason why I'm actually doing this podcast episode, because I have been particularly frustrated over the last couple of days for various reasons. Number one, my hot water went out, hurt my hip, so my hip's been bothering me. Had some financial issue that required that I retain a lawyer to help me get that situation straightened out. I had a proposal to work with the company, and I had kind of had that all set in stone, thought it was done, and then now that's been put on hold and potentially may fall through. And, so just been a host of things. I had technical issues with my computer and software over the last week or so. So there's just been a host of things that really got me frustrated, number one, individually, but then compounded when they all kind of happened around the same time or at the same time. And they all were things that weren't able to be resolved quickly, because I tend to like to, when an issue comes up, challenge comes up, I like to address it, hopefully fix it right away so that I can move on with my day, with my week, on to the other things that I have to do. And largely because, I have an idea in my head of how I want things to flow and how I want my week to go and how I want my plans to unfold. And when that is interrupted over some things that I think shouldn't interrupt it, then that creates frustration. That creates some hostility. That creates some anger. And again, I'm doing this episode because I am in the midst of this right now, and I thought it'd be great to go ahead and share it while I'm in the midst of feeling this way, and then go ahead and discuss it real quick with the things that I think are important to remember and to do when you find yourself in this place. Because again, for anybody who's listening, I give it to you straight. I give you real time. I give you things that are happening in my life right now, so that that we're all one and the same. I'm no different than any of you out there. I'm just here to share and hopefully offer some insights that might help you when you come across this very same things that I come across just as often as you guys do. So now the more important thing is to remember, which is why I labeled this frustrations are our friends, is when we become frustrated, especially at a real high level, because there was a moment that I allowed this to really get me to that fever pitch, to where I was really tensing up and I really was, upset. My temperature was rising. And then I realized, that's what helped me realize that, hey, you got to take a step back and you've got to remember how to work through these things. And, the number one thing that I want y'all to know is when you become frustrated, and the main lesson is, it's time for you to slow down, take a look, because you're probably doing too much, or you're probably moving in the wrong directions. And I think in my case, there may have been a little bit of both. And I think the other thing is, it's a good indication that you might need to take a rest. Now, how long a rest, that's dependent on you, but you definitely need to step back and relax. And so that is the first thing that I had to do, is just to step back and relax. So whenever you find yourself angry, frustrated, your plans aren't working, things are falling through, people are pushing you in directions you don't want to be pushed in anymore, then it's time to just take a step back and look at the landscape, look at everything that you have going on, and start to, reevaluate what you're doing. That's the first step. Second step is to, of course, situations have to be dealt with. When my hot water went out, I had to call someone to take a look at it. When the company reared its head and wanted to charge me for something that I didn't feel like I owed, then I had to get a lawyer to talk to their lawyers to handle that situation legally. When my hip started bothering me, I kind of knew there were several reasons for that. One of them is I hadn't been exercising as frequently as I normally do. So I know that was part of it. So then again, the resolution there is I have to make a point to take time and start exercising again, in particular my hips, make sure I'm really loose, and stretching those muscles really good so that I can loosen up that energy and relieve that pain. So, that's the next thing is, you have to address those situations individually. Third thing is you have to look at, do I really need to do all these things? What all's going on? Can something be eliminated, or can something be let go? Or can I look at something differently? Take, for example, the situation with the company I was looking to do business with. Now that situation's on hold and might go away. I have to look at it differently from the standpoint of, oftentimes in life, the things that we don't get are good for us, because it ends up where it may not have been a good deal for me, or it just might not have been the right time, or it just might not have worked out the way that both parties would have liked for it to work out. So the fact that I may not end up working with that company right now, I have to understand that that's probably a good thing. Even though I had it set in my plans, I was excited about it, looking forward to it. It would have been something new for me, a new project. So now I have to take a step back and say, hey, that's probably not the right time, not the right thing. And when it's time, that opportunity or opportunities like that will come around, and that'll be fine. And then that's another thing too, is, we have to look back and also understand that everything's okay. Even though in the heat of the moment, it doesn't seem that way. So many things are going different directions, not going the way you planned it. Best laid plans, right? So as I start to move back, take a look at the landscape again, take my eyes off of certain projects, or look at them a different way, maybe put some things on hold. Then I started to allow my frustrations to start to lessen. And then the other physical thing that I really want you to do, outside of getting back to my exercise routine, is breathing. Breathing is super important, and I don't think it's talked about enough. When we are frustrated or angry, we tense up. And we start to breathe really shallow. And then that, removes, or that eliminates a lot of the oxygen that is vital for the function of our body. And when we do that, again, the muscles tense, we don't have as much oxygen in our system, and our physical body is not working to its full capacity. So, of course, now, if your body's starting to give you issues, then it's only going to create more mental frustrations, because now you're wondering, what's going on with my body? Why do I feel this way? Why am I tired? Oh, and then the other thing I forgot to mention earlier, too, on top of all those things going on, and I haven't been sleeping really well. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things, that I'm not getting good rest lately. So then now I wake up or get up, start my day, and I'm not fully energized. I'm running out of energy throughout the day, which I normally don't do. And then that leads to frustration and anger and et cetera, et cetera. So, all said is, there's a physical aspect of it that you have to address. Get your exercise, start taking deep breaths, rest, relax, step back from everything that's going on, address the individual issues and know that they'll be taken care of. Know that everything's okay in the big scheme of things. Opportunities will come back around, or they'll be passed by because you didn't need them. And, all in all, just be comfortable with how things are unfolding, because it's all working together for our best good, even though in our eyes, in our plans, it doesn't seem like it's going that way. So I am going to close out there on this particular episode. But remember, frustrations are our friends. They come about to give us a chance to do those things I just talked about. Step back, remember that everything's okay. Look at the projects, look at the things we're involved in. Maybe we need to eliminate some things, look at some things differently. And we definitely always have to remember to take care of our physical health, because if we aren't physically able to do the things that we need to do on a daily basis, then none of this other stuff matters. So remember, take care of yourself, be good to yourself, step back, relax, breathe, handle those situations individually. They'll work themselves out. And as always, continue to hang out with me. Look forward to speaking with you all and connecting with you all wherever we meet up. So until the next time, I look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Remember, your frustrations are our friends. Take a step back and allow them to be released in a divine timing. All right. Talk to you all again later. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.